we need to make a couple of changes right off the bat to the agenda. Under consent agenda, it says item number 6, renew contract with Obdo. That cannot be consent agenda. That needs to move down to new business. We'll list that as item number 4. And it's actually Obdo, it's extending the current contract to 12/31 of 2022. And Mary will be able to speak to that. The other item is number 7 under consent agenda. I have no idea how that ended up there. It's for the compensation workman's comp. That's actually paid up until April of 2023, so that's something that'll be brought forward to the next administration for approval. So we're just gonna remove that completely. And again, Jim Stein from Stein Agency makes that presentation. It's usually in that March or April time frame, so it'll be plenty of time for the next administration to approve that contract. So with that, Ross, I got a phone call from Ross. He said, I want to amend the agenda tonight. Go ahead, Ross.
I'd like to add on just the ARPA, just to review it, or an update, I should say, because we discussed it before and can't take any action on it, but just keep everybody informed.
Okay, so should we list that under new business like item 5?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So number 5 says ARPA, I think I heard you say update, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Ross. Anything else for the agenda this evening? If not, then do I have a motion to approve our amended agenda?
So moved.
By Larry, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And our consent agenda for this evening, other than the 2 items that one we moved and the other we removed, anything else that needs to be pulled out for discussion? Any comments? Okay, then for the record, the first one is the approval of our minutes from previous meetings, which would be September 12th and October 10th of 2022. Any staff reports that we have, commission and board reports, correspondence, the approval of our claims and payroll, and with that, that is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Ross, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we're at public forum, and I'm just gonna stay right on task this evening. The first item that I have is Carol Schumann. It says the Lighting Festival. So Carol, if you'd like to join us, appreciate your time.
So this year's lighting festival will be on November 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Can you do a microphone?
Can't hear.
Yeah, can you do a microphone? Is that one
Sorry,
active?
I don't have much.
She doesn't have a microphone.
No, it's right here. Is that active? No, you don't have to.
I think it is.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's active.
Still working on election.
Yeah, we figured out the problem with the sound system. The knobs were twisted every which direction, so that's been corrected.
Okay, so the lighting festival is November 25th, 26th, and 27th. And our theme this year is Wanigan Trailblazing the St. Croix. So 3 days full of family activities for our community. There are a lot of expenses and a time and effort putting on an event such as this. And we wanted to say that we appreciate the support of the city, including the lighting festival in the budget. So we encourage you to wear your flannel and join us in all of the festivities. And if it's all right, I can put a flyer or poster up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And the next one must be a relative of yours, Carol. It says Kevin Schumann, and it says Cherry Hill, thank you. Welcome, Kevin. Always good to see you.
So, just wanted to give a brief update on the Cherry Hill Peony Garden. I've continued work on that throughout the summer and fall now. And so, have completed what planting I'll be doing this year. There were a number of donations from my personal collection of peonies and other perennials from my yard and garden. And then also, I just wanted to let you know that Branch Nursery in North Branch also made a considerable donation of planting material for that. There were, among the plants were yucca and iris and yarrow and purple coneflowers and rudbeckia and shades of red monarda, prairie smoke, which is a native plant, and Russian sage as well. So looking at things that will fill in the color after the peony season. So at this point, there are still many gaps that need planting. but the color and things are along the whole fence line now. So that's 130 feet of garden space that's filling up. So just wanted to let you know that. And then I did just copy off the address for North Branch or for Branch Nursery in North Branch. If you would care to send a thank you note to them, that
Definitely.
would be very, very nice.
Very good. So
Thank
question for you, Kevin, is everything that you named, are those all native to Minnesota? Some of those I've never heard of.
I actually have no idea. They're not native to Minnesota, but they grow here.
Yeah,
There are zone.
they are. Okay, I was curious. Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Sure.
And the last item that I have is Deb Julikine. It says council appreciation. Welcome, Deb. Appreciate your time.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I wish to take this opportunity to thank the devoted civil servants who are retiring from the city council at the end of the year. For our devoted mayor and council members, 2022 has been difficult at best and cantankerous at worst. Through it all, our city council has remained dignified in the face of unfounded criticism. I admire the way you went high, even when others went low. I appreciate your willingness to make decisions based on facts rather than on gossip and politics. To Mary Murphy, who has served for the last, I have 12 years, I think that's right. Thank you for bringing a woman's perspective to the job. You have shown grace and hard work in your dedication to our community as you served as personnel liaison, negotiations on the police and fire department contracts, trained staff on the Banyan system, and even volunteered many hours of your personal time to administrative support. We really appreciate what you've done. To Mayor Mike Buhai, who has provided solid leadership even under the most adversarial conditions. For 20 years, you've been the public face of Taylor's Falls, showing up everywhere from TF Elementary to local parades to dunking tanks. Through it all, you've managed to act fiscally responsible in meeting the city's needs while keeping our taxes reasonable. Thank you for doing the tough job of showing up and giving it your all. To Ross Rivard, who followed in his father's footsteps in giving back to his community for a remarkable 32 years. Thank you for using your talents and skills as liaison to Public Works for many years and serving on the Planning Commission. We appreciate your initiative in overseeing the construction of well number 4 and the much needed relining of the city sewer mains, which I know will help for many decades to come. Best of luck to our returning and incoming council members. Mary said it best last month, and I'm paraphrasing what you said, but remember to trust one another, work together, and don't let the naysayers get you down. Everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, that's all of the public forum. I'm gonna move right into the agenda. The first item on the agenda is actually something we should have caught last month, we didn't. This says it's a resolution permitting Schaefer Volunteer Firemen's Benefit Association poll tabs at the GOAT, which stands for Greatest of All Time. Mary, you want to give us some brief information? You're very knowledgeable on the poll tabs and charitable or gambling, that type of thing.
So previously, they have had gambling down there at the GOAT, and all it did was change ownerships, and they still want to continue. However, instead of Scandia Marine Lions, it's going to be the Schaefer Fire as listed there. So it's just kind of transferring over. They just have to go through the process in order to get it to the state for approval.
Very good, thank you, Mary. Anybody have any questions on this or any comments on this?
No, I do have one little fun thing to say, is I had dinner with them, or down there the other day, and one of the staff said, when are we gonna get our gambling license? I said, it's on the docket.
Exactly. Okay, so it sounds like everybody's okay with this. There's a separate attachment. It looks like the one that was included in the packet. The separate one actually has the address of 367 Bench Street. The one prior just said Bench Street. So we want to be specific on that. So how does the language look on the resolution? Look okay to everybody? Okay, so with that, I'm gonna call for a motion to approve Resolution 22-1101. This resolution approves pull tab and charitable gambling. It is by the Schaefer Volunteer Firemen's Benefit Association. It is located at the GOAT, which is 367 Bench Street. It is within the city of Taylor's Falls. They have a license number, which is 02326. So do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I'm on to the next item on the agenda. This comes from the law firm, our city attorneys of Kelly and Lemons. It was an email that was sent to Mary Tomnitz. It's very brief. It says, Kelly and Lemons has decided that effective January 1st of 2023, it will terminate its duties as city attorney to the city of Taylor's Falls. Given the long relationship that has existed between the city and the firm, this was not an easy decision. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your city attorney, and we wish the city the best. That means the next administration will have the opportunity to pick their own law firm. For those of you who don't know, Kelly and Lemons places in the top 1% in the state of Minnesota. Patrick Kelly, is a former president of the Minnesota State Bar Association and has more than one super attorney award, which are very rare. So, very good law firm. I think they'll be missed by the city. So, comments on this, Ross? You've been with them longer than I have.
Yeah, actually, they've changed, hands a few times. Patrick's always been there, but the second person has been 2 or 3 different changes over the last,
Speak into the microphone,
Yeah.
Hannah's gonna scold you.
you.
over the last 30 years. I think they've been with, I bet you, close to that,
Mhm.
25, 30. Anyway, they've done a great job, I believe. You know, a lot of times their job's kind of a tough one because you get a lot of controversy, but either way, they're good people to deal with and have done a fantastic job, I think.
Larry, comments?
Hate to see them go. They steered us through some very difficult times. And they've always had the city's best interest at heart. And they always pick up a phone when you call them, so.
Very good. Mary, comments?
I agree, ditto with everything. I got the chance actually in my 11th and 12th year to actually work with them, so, it was a pleasure and an honor.
Okay, thank you. Troy, comments?
Yeah, I wanna, thank them also for their, representing us, for their, legal assistance, of course, and also for giving us this notice, in advance. I think, I would, I'd like to take advantage of the opportunity to ask if, Councilmember Giuliani would join me in asking that city staff take advantage of this and, we start, just to keep the public service, to keep the citizens at forefront, to draw up and start drawing up an RFP at this point, so the next council can hit the ground running, and we'll have an RFP ready to go for the next attorney. So.
Sounds good.
I have a question.
Mary?
With an RFP, don't you need to have someone in mind in order to
Or
do
bids.
that for bids?
From what I understand, the RFP is written up and then people bid on it, but we could do that as well. Either way, if we have the RFP ready to go, that gives the next council something.
Okay, thank you, Troy. So with that, I will call for a motion to accept with regrets and a lot of gratitude the resignation of the city attorney law firm of Kelly and Lemons. It is as of January 1st of 2023. So motion to accept this.
So moved.
By Larry, second by Ross. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is consider the canvass of the election results. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate all those who were elected and will be representing our city. Not everybody can win, unfortunately. Now, there is an attachment in here, and it's incorrect, so that's why there's a separate one. And what happened on here was names were kind of a little out of order. And so the separate attachment is the correct tally of everything. It was for the 2 city council members. And so that is the correct one. And so all we have to do is take a look at this. There is a resolution. We must approve a resolution in order for this to happen. And so anybody have any comments on this? Any concerns? We're okay with the resolution? Language looks good?
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Are in order?
Okay, so I'm gonna call for a resolution, pardon me, a motion to approve resolution 221102. This is a resolution that is certifying the results of the Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 general election.
So moved.
By Mary, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we're on to the next item, which Mary requested this be on the agenda. This says, we're actually extending the current contract with Obdo. And Mary, do you want to speak to this? Because I know this is your request. And I'm
So-
not trying to put you on the spot.
Nope, that's okay. So we've been working on trying to get the bank statements and everything reconciled. We've run into a couple little issues. I have not had access to some things, so it's made it a little bit difficult. And I thought, my understanding was it went through December 31st anyway. Turns out it was September, so we're just moving forward and getting back on track. And so this one will go to the end of December.
I mean, end of December,
End of December.
correct. So why did we only go till the end of September?
That I do not know.
Is it possible they thought they would have everything done by the end of September?
I believe so. I
Okay.
wasn't part of that negotiation at
Okay.
that time, so that, I can't speak to that, but, we have been moving forward and we should be getting a lot closer within the next 2-3 weeks here.
Okay.
My goal is to make sure we have balances in the accounts before the December meeting, so we know where we're sitting.
Well, and it
So
would be
we're
very
getting
nice to know where all the funds are at the end of the
Absolutely.
year, so when we turn over the administration, they're not starting
Absolutely.
out in a mess.
And so this will be helping that process since
Okay.
they know how that works.
Okay, and I don't believe they're working full-time on this, are they? Like 40 hours a week with one person where this is costing us tens of thousands of dollars, is it?
No, it's one person, and right now they are, waiting on me for 2 things.
Okay,
So as soon as so it kinda goes back and forth, I'll get them the stuff,
Okay.
they'll work on it, they'll
Okay.
ask me a few more questions.
all right,
And it
and
just-
so I think you mentioned to me that like we're up and through the end of May, I think that's correct?
We are working on May,
Okay.
and that should be tied up by the end of this week for
Got
sure,
it.
if not
Right.
June as well.
Sounds good. Comments from council members on extending the contract?
Question, did Abdo say anything about, contracting with the city past December 31?
I have not heard anything, nothing has been said, but I haven't asked either, so.
Might be a good idea to
Is that
ask.
something I can, yeah?
I would say we should direct staff to go ahead and ask. It's probably appropriate for them. So, and then make sure that council knows at the next meeting in December,
To leave it
that way
open.
again, we're not abandoning our next administration,
Sure.
because we're still gonna be living here, so,
That would be another opportunity for an RFP,
exactly.
all right? Thank
Okay,
you.
sounds good. So I'm going to, call for a motion to approve the current contract with Obdo. The purpose is to finish the reconciliation of our city's bank account. So do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
By Larry, do I have a second?
Second.
By Troy, those in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. And we're on to the last item, which was newly added. This is an update from ARPA. And at our last meeting, we found out, to our surprise, that we actually have received the funds in June. And so, Ross, you wanna speak to this? Tell us
Sure.
what's going on.
What the issue was, and I'm glad Troy brought it to our attention, that we'd actually received the money, we weren't aware of it, because they just sent it to you. And,
How did they send it to you? Is it done like a check or?
I think, Mary, didn't they just email it to us, or excuse me, not email?
So, it comes through the state of Minnesota, like many of the payments do, and you have to have access to that specific site in order to see what it is. And during the process of reconciliation of the bank statements, that is one of the line items on there, and now that I have access to that particular site, then I can see the funds that are coming in. The other things that come in are from like the county for, like fines and forfeitures or grant money, all come through the state. The only thing that doesn't is we get a separate check from Chisago County for property taxes that need to get dispersed.
Yep.
However, the other funds come in electronically, so they just go right straight to the bank, and then when you reconcile, you'll know that it's there. But up until August, I didn't have access to the bank, nor did I have access to the state sites and a couple other different things.
So why didn't you have access to the state site?
I didn't have passwords, so I had to recreate and get logged on and redo everything, so.
And we, well, getting back to that exact issue, we also discovered that, the reason Mary wasn't aware of it is the state was using an old email address. We have a new one. No, correct me if I'm mistaken, Mary. Anyway, someone had taken the old email address and directed it to their own personal home account. And anyway, and it wasn't the mayor, it wasn't anybody in this council, and it wasn't Mary, but it went to their personal account, so Mary was not aware of any of this the state was sending out on the old emails. So this is something, because it's, you know, HR, I'll have to, and Larry, talk to the city attorney about it. To me, it's a big issue. Mary couldn't understand why she wasn't getting them, and we had BitWorks come up and they figured it out. You know, where the issue was, it was going to somebody else's account.
So it's a private account that it's going to?
It's a private account.
And do we know whose private account it is? Don't tell me, but do we
Yes.
know?
Yes.
We do,
Yeah,
all right.
we do. So we'll have to deal with that.
All right.
Along with that, there are several, so this will come up later on, there are several invoices, of things that did not get paid because I
So
was.
that's why some of the invoices were late?
Yes,
Do we know if there's more than one email account, private email account, or it's just one? So it came into the old city account, which we stopped using, was forwarded to a private one. Are there multiple private accounts, or just the one?
I'm not sure about that.
If there's just one, it probably makes it a lot easier to track. That's why.
So correct me if I'm wrong, this is federal money, however, correct? The state is responsible for reporting it, but it's actual, the ARPA funds are federal money. Is that
So,
correct?
and I believe that's why it goes through the state and then gets
Right.
distributed.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's all electronic, it's no checks,
Right.
it's just electronic in there.
And we have 3 disbursements totaling 112,000 something or other. Are you saying, because we acknowledged the receipt of the first disbursement of 54,707?
That was in two parts.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and the second. So the one we're missing and supposedly went to a private account is the one for 56,498.
The money didn't go to a private
No.
account,
Oh, right.
it went directly into the
Email.
city's bank.
Okay,
It's just
okay.
electronically.
Email.
But notifications come from the states in several different ways, and one is through an email, and it was through
Right.
an old email that we no longer use.
So-
However, it's still out there.
So the notifications were going to a private account, is what you're saying?
Because it was being transferred.
Okay.
So that gets back to why we didn't respond to it, because we weren't aware of it at the time. So anyway, like I say, the first one was, we received, we accepted it, we've done payments, which we can get you exact numbers, Troy.
Okay.
I think Steve might have mentioned that, it has to go to utilities, like water and
And
sewer.
utilities is not paving.
No,
It's infrastructure.
water and sewer.
Yeah, below ground.
So anyway, downtown, we have 2 lift pumps. Actually, there's 4. 2 work together as a team, then the other 2. We replaced 2 of them, this year. The cost of 2 of them is a little over $50,000. They're not cheap. Now, this is what, and we also bought our, meter reader, the new one for the water billing. Which we had receiving the second funds on a meeting tonight, but we didn't. So we'll have to receive it next time. But same thing, there's the other 2 pumps down there need replacing, which will be another over 50,000. Very expensive. Luckily, the government is, you know, giving money to help assist the cities. The good thing is you only have to replace them every 5 to 7 years.
But how long do they take to get when you order them?
Nowadays, they might be 8, 10, maybe a whole year just to get them. So that's an issue, that's where we gotta get them ordered.
Okay.
And that's this, we'll get the exact numbers when Mike Chris gets the bids on it, because we have to go to bids. That'll explain the second round of where it's going, and I think there'll still be some money left over, which we can get some new water meters and things like that.
Okay. So the question I've got is, you mentioned the funds have been received, they're there, but we haven't accepted them yet. So we have to accept them by resolution, just like we did the first disbursement, or the
Yep.
first time. So we'll want to have that on the December meeting
Yes,
to actually accept those funds by resolution.
that is correct.
And then we have not dispersed the funds yet because we haven't accepted the funds. And so I hear Ross saying we're gonna look at ordering 2 more pumps for the lift station number 1
Yep.
at about $50,000 for 2 pumps. And that should put the city in a very good position for that lift station.
Yeah, cause
Correct.
really, and not to go on and on, but, the sewer systems in town are totally relined. Finished all of them, it took about 25 years.
Yep.
Sorry. Took about 25 years to reline them all, they're like new, they probably have an 80-year life, something in that order. Like to say now that we do save money every year to replace the pumps, but now because the federal government's given us money, that money will just keep going into reserves for, 5 to 7 more years down. So our sewer fund, although it's in great shape right now, will even be better shape because of no expenses for them, so.
Okay. Anything else, Ross?
No, that's about the sewer.
Okay. I know you're disappointed you couldn't use it toward paving, that was your big
Yeah.
fun.
Bummer.
Yeah. Larry, anything you wanna add to that?
No, this clears everything up.
Okay, perfect, makes sense. Comments, Troy?
Yeah, thank you, Ross, for all your hard work and digging into this. So our next resolution will be to accept the third distribution, is
Yes.
that correct? The
Yep.
56,498.92, okay.
Correct.
And then the email notifications, we know we're going to a private account.
Yes.
Does anybody know who that private account was at this point? And I obviously can't say, but
I don't.
are we aware?
Yes, I do, and I cannot say.
Okay.
That's why I don't know, because you can't say it. Okay, very good. So, that's just an update. Mary, anything, comments on this at all?
No, I'm
Okay.
glad that, you brought it to fruition, and unfortunately it was hidden, the information, and it was mined out.
Okay, very good. So that is everything on the agenda. There's no action on that. There will be next month, however. So, anything at this point that council needs to bring up for a roundtable, or bring us up to date on anything for the area that each person liaison-wise is responsible for?
Well, the Heritage Preservation Commission is gonna try to meet again tomorrow night.
Okay.
We've had trouble with the quorum, so we're gonna get caught up to speed hopefully tomorrow night.
Okay, very good. Anything, Mary?
I'm gonna be Mrs. Santa Claus.
Okay, during the lighting festival? I hope?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
EDC meeting tomorrow night, working on safe routes to school, sidewalks. We're really excited about some people that have stepped up to help us out.
Good,
And look at some grants, so we're ready to get going.
very good. Hopefully we snag it this time, so I'm gonna be the third try. So anything new, Ross?
Planning commission isn't gonna meet this month, so we'll see how it goes next month.
Okay, very good. I think we have covered everything. I'm gonna take a chance
Hold
and
on one
say,
second.
Yeah.
I can't hear what you said.
For
Is that next meeting?
Yes.
little sidebar,
Um,
go ahead.
Yes,
we
I
have an evaluation, Mary's evaluation at the next meeting.
Oh, okay, you're gonna do an evaluation on Mary. She's been here 6 months then. Okay, so that's on the next agenda as well. Very good. So again, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrates that. Have a safe one. We'll see you at the next meeting in December. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mary, second by Larry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.